episode, I think we are just going to discuss about things that a driver must do on the road. Dovrei de la Conducente. In a driving book, we have a part which is what? Dovrei de la Conducente. When you talk of Dovrei de la Conducente, what is it simply talking about? It's simply talking about things that you must do as a driver on the road. About 6 most important things that a driver must do once you are on the street or once you are on the road driving. First of all, it says that vietato umbratare o spostare o rimuovere la segnaletica stradale. What is this one saying? It's saying that you have to avoid hitting the signs on the road. You have to avoid removing any sign that have been placed on the road, and you have to avoid like shifting any sign that they have put on the road. For example, when you are driving and you reach a place or when you get to a junction that they are working and maybe they forgot to put 1 or 2 things in order, maybe they have left what they are working, the place that they are working. You as a driver, you don't need to position any sign into the right position. Once you get there, just leave whatever is there and be going where you are going to. So vietato spostare segnali su strada. That means you have to avoid arranging or putting any sign you meet on the road in the correct direction or in the correct way. So it says vietato sporcare la carreggiata con. Like you have to avoid getting the road dirty with first mozzicone di sigarette e carta. Mozzicone di sigarette e carta. That means you have to avoid throwing out cigarette pieces on the street, and you have to also avoid throwing papers on the street. For example, you go and buy something from the supermarket, or when you get out from the supermarket and you are going home, the receipt that they normally give you, you don't need to be throwing them on the street whilst you are driving. And also fungi e dirty. Fungi, like when your car gets stuck in a muddy area or when you get to a place that is muddy, you don't need to drive on the street with the dirty tires, because once you get on the street with the dirty tires, you are going to also get the road sparkle. That means you are also going to dirty the road. And once you do that and you are not careful, you can also be given a multa. When you meet the vigil on the street, the polizia stradale, they can give you a multa once you are driving with your car tires being dirty. Not dirty in the extent of like the tires are very dirty. Like when the tires have taken maybe clay or this aqua with clay mud on the street, from maybe you get to the farm and from the farm you are going to the normal street, you have to make sure that your tires are not getting dirty to spoil the road. And these are the things that the driver is supposed to avoid. And the next third thing that in this area is that perde di olio e di carburante. What is perde di olio e di carburante? You have to make sure as a driver that non-mine, like you don't have to let your car be leaking oil on the street. 2, you don't have to make sure that you have to make sure that your car is not leaking petrol on the street. These are the things that the driver is supposed not to do at all. Because once you are being found with this kind of offenses, first of all, you might be given a multa, because it are things that it's a part of the things that are in the Patente di guida exam theory that you have to also learn and also have to know. So these are 3 things under the category of keeping the road or the street clean. First, you have to make sure you don't throw papers or pieces of cigarette on the street. Secondly, you don't have to come to the street with your car's tires being dirty with mud or being dirty with fango, which is mud that we are talking about. And you don't have to perde oil on the street. Like your car shouldn't be leaking oil on the street. For example, when your car leaks oil on the street, have it in mind that when the cars following you cannot brake in terms of braking. So these are the things that you have to be very careful once you are driving on the street. It is things that you have to do. Make sure that they are in the correct position before you move. He said, anche se dovrei avrete visto fare molte volte, ricordate che lasciare mozziconi di sigaretta accesa dall'auto severamente vietato in quanto molto pericoloso per il veicolo di 2 ruote. Like when you throw pieces of cigarettes on the street, it is very dangerous, because people normally carrying this kind of small motors maybe some of them are leaking oil or leaking petrol. Once they park and you throw out cigarettes on the street, it can cause a dangerous as a fire outbreak on the street. So these are the things that you have to avoid: throwing out pieces of cigarettes on the street and also making the street dirty. So the next part of things among the systems that the driver is supposed to do is that deviate di greggiare in velocità. What is deviate di greggiare in velocità? You have to avoid speeding or making competition with drivers on the street. For example, if you are riding a new car or you are riding a big car, you don't have to be going competition with the cars on the street. If the speed limit is 30, be going 30. Don't say that your car is a big car, so you're supposed to go 50 or 70 for the rest to know that you are riding a big car. It says deviate di greggiare. Greggiare, that means you have to what? Avoid being competition on the road. Like you have to pass this one and also pass this one. It is what? Deviator. Deviator, that means you have to avoid. So these are also part of the things that a driver you don't supposed to what? You don't supposed to do. And quando si viaggia in fila con altri veicoli, when you are what? You are in fila, when you are in traffic with other vehicles, there are also things that you have to what? You have to avoid doing. What are the first things that you have to avoid doing when you are in a traffic or you are in a coda? First, non avvicinarsi troppo di veicolo che precede mantenendo ugualmente la distanza di sicurezza. That means that you don't need to what? Get close to the car which is in front of you when you are driving and the car is what? In a traffic, or when the cars are in like there is a traffic on the way. You don't, not especially in a traffic light, but maybe something has blocked in the front and your car is not moving. You don't need to get close to the car that is in front of you. You have to let there be distance between the two of you. And you have to what? Give this distance for what? Security. That means you have to give the distance of security in case of anything, because the car at your back can fail brake and it can hit the back of your car. When the car hits the back of your car and you are not having your handbrake on, that means you are also going to hit the car in front of you. So when you give the distance, that is going to avoid this accident or this kind of things in terms that it's happening. And porre attenzione anche in lontananza per controllare la situazione del traffico. Like you have to walk on the street when there is what? Traffic, because sometimes when there is traffic, maybe there is a dangerous issue on the at the front. So you have to be very attention on the street when there is a traffic. In case of anything, then that means you are moving back or you are what? Turning back to the other direction. So you have to be very attentive and be controlling the situation of the traffic to know what is going on. If they are saying move, then you move. If they are saying stop, then you stop. Lasciare libero gli sbocchi della strada laterale per agevolare il traffico. Lasciare libero gli sbocchi della strada laterale per agevolare il traffico. What is this type part saying? It's saying that you have to what? Leave space at the side of what? The road. Lasciare libero laterale. When you talk of laterale, it's the side of the road. You have to give space at the side of the road when there is what? Traffic. Because it might be that there is an incident at the front which the emergency unit is supposed to pass to go and control what is at the front there. So whenever there is a traffic, you have to make sure that you are not close to the roadside, the left side, or wherever you are in the position. You have to give space more in case of any emergency so that they can pass. So as you see the diagram on the screen, the first one is what? Mantenere la distanza discreta, porre attenzione anche in lontananza, lasciare libero gli sbocchi della strada laterale. So these are also part of the things that a driver dovrei what? You don't have to what? Do as a driver when you are on the street. So the explanation is saying that quando nel centro urbano si viaggia in fila con altri veicoli, opportuno tenere sempre accesso alla luce di emergenza. Whenever you are in a code, or when you talk of code, that means when the cars are not moving, that is coda. So when the cars are not moving, whenever you are in a code, you have to put on the traffic light, the emergency lights for the car at the back to also know that there is an emergency at the front. Because for example, if I'm at your back and you don't put on the emergency light and you are not moving, for me I might think that there is no problem on the road. So you have to what? Let me know that there is a problem at the front. That's why the cars are not moving. Quando si viaggia in fila con altri veicoli, consentito di stare se base velocità. That means also when the cars are not moving, you have to make sure that you go low speed limits. That means you don't have to be what? Going high speed. quando si viaggi dietro in fila con altri veicoli, opportuno spostare il più possibile sinistra per creare una corsia libera a destra. That is what I said. When you are in a coda or when the cars are not moving, you have to make sure that you move to the right hand side, so that in case of any emergency, the police or any unit can pass the middle to go and control what is going on at the front. So the next thing also you have to do as a driver is that parte della strada lasciare libero in caso di traffic intenso. That is what we have already explained. So this diagram that you are seeing here is all talking about when there is traffic, you have to make sure you give space for the upcoming cars, emergency car to pass in terms of emergency. Entrando in un centro abitato, when you are entering into the city or when you are entering into the road in the city, you have to make sure when there is traffic, you don't need to quickly enter into the traffic. Even if you are coming from your compound, you don't need to quickly enter into the traffic light. For example, you can see on the screen what this man is trying to do. He's trying to enter into the traffic, which is wrong. If there is no traffic red light here, or if there is no car here, you have the right to enter. But as you can see, there is stop with the red light, and this car is moving to stop at the front here. So you are entering, it is wrong for you to enter like this. So these are part of the things that you have to do whenever you are in the traffic. So we'll end our lessons for today, and I think you have learned something today. And these are all the things that Dovrei, when you talk of Dovrei, that means things that you don't need to do as a driver whenever you are driving. So whenever you come across these situations, make sure you avoid them from getting multa or avoid them from getting very periculous or like getting accidents on the street. Thanks once again for your time of watching our videos. To the end of our lessons for today. If you are new on our platform, this is Quad Drive. We explain the theory aspect of the Patente degree in Italian to English. If you are new, just do us a favor by subscribing to our channel. Share the videos to others. It might be helpful to your brother or your sister. Once again, if you want to join our online classes, if you're normal on the screen, just pick it and WhatsApp. Let's talk about how you can be part of the classes. Till we meet again, just expecting new videos throughout the week. I'm out for now. May God be with you.